I want to start this satsang with a question that has been emailed in because it is a wonderful springboard, this question, to really begin to explain something that might help and why it is beneficial to move beyond experiencing our assumptions about ourself and life, and to directly experience what we actually are, what everything actually is, which is the one self that is everywhere, in all places, at all times. This question is a very short one, which always is great for me. It simply says, hello, what does it mean by I would experience what I think I know as a concept, and the opposite of it, please clarify it. So what does it mean I would experience what I think I know as a concept, and the opposite of it, please clarify it. So if everything is, even if we only know this theoretically, intellectually, we can still follow along with what I'm going to say and really begin to take that understanding deeper inside. So if everything really is not a thing, if what I am, what you are, what everything is this great, invisible, intangible, formless self, that there is only the one self appearing as all these human bodies, all of these forms, and that everything really isn't so solid as it seems, although it will still always seem to be. And everything is made of this intangible, formless reality. And in manifestation, it vibrates, therefore it begins to appear a certain way. It'll have a shape and a color and a duration and all of that. Everything is made of this formlessness. Then what is it that makes me experience what I experience? And what is that process about? So if you're shapeless and formless by your very nature, you're infinite and everywhere, all pervading, all the time, can never be absent from anywhere at any moment. That is the reality of your being. And we have come to believe ourselves to be just the body only, or a being living in a body but still separate to everything else. Then we're going to experience in a very powerful way what we believe to be true. So concepts that we hold on to are very literally shaping our experience. Just as if you took some cookie dough and you had 3 different shapes of cutter, one was a circle, one was a square, one was a triangle. You're not going to get a triangle from the circle cutter, are you? You're going to end up with a circular cookie. No, I want a cookie. So our thoughts are shaping the manifestation process in that way. And we may know this, of course, on a level, but it really helped me to begin to understand how that was occurring. The manifestation isn't just a physical thing, that it exists on a subtle level too. That first of all, what shapes the shapelessness of our being is a thought, and even the fact that we have a human body that we're using to attend this satsang is coming from this concept of a body, that I have a body, that there is a body, that this is a human body. And the more we believe in a concept of something, the more it shapes and slows down this very high frequency manifestation into something that becomes a slower vibration, not worse or bad, just slower, and it becomes perceptible to our physical senses, to our visible to our eyes, audible like these words are to our ears. So what we know to be true is going to then we're going to take the shape very literally of that concept. So if I feel, for example, I'm not safe, I'm in danger, or I'm unworthy of awakening, or life isn't fair, then that is the shape, that is the cookie cutter shape right there. And that is the shape with which we're forming our experience. And our life has to take the shape of that concept, just as our life has to take the shape of any concept that we experience. Without any concepts at all, then if I let my shapelessness, my invisible, intangible nature, come into shape without any concepts in my human brain being believed. It doesn't mean thoughts stop. It just means I'm willing to question if I have to keep making these same shapes by using these same cutters. Then what naturally happens is manifestation takes the highest frequency shape that's possible in any particular moment, and that is always increasing. This is where a miracle happens. What we call a miracle is when the shapeless, formless self becomes a shape and a form, and there are no human concepts in the way of that process. So what spontaneously happens is the highest thing that's possible to the highest possible shape and frequency is what spontaneously occurs. And so if I believe, going back to our example, that I am not worthy of waking up or not worthy of happiness and all good things, I have to keep experiencing my life that way. It literally takes the shape, because all the other beings in my life are not really other, they are me also. So they have to take that shape too. It is the one being appearing everywhere all the time with these concepts that is shaping its human experience in. And you could say, in a very general way, that there's only one shape that we take, and that is of a separate being. A separate being. And with that comes certain experiences as a guaranteed: fear, limitation, lack. There's also a lot of positives, of course, about being a separate being. But by the time we find ourselves in a satsang like this, the idea taking the shape of a separate being alone in the universe with a finite existence has become far too painful to continue to hold on to. And we're exploring our shapelessness more and more and enjoying the shapelessness without the concepts in the way, the beliefs. There's nothing to shape the dough. It naturally takes its highest form possible, its most expansive form possible. And our life begins to reflect back to us more and more experiences, beings, events, happenings that reflect back to us our inner joy and peace that comes from recognizing our shapelessness. And just going back to the cookie dough analogy, if I take a circle and stamp the circle and get a circular cookie and take that away, everything that's left with the circle hole in it, it still remains. And this is why, if I choose to experience, unconsciously of course, that I'm not good enough, my experience while I hold that shape will be that people and everything in my life agree with me that I'm not worthy of success or happiness or enlightenment or whatever I'm trying to get, or even just peace. And all experiences come and go. They cannot be continuous. So when that experience of being unworthy stops, the opposite, what's left of that door, will have to be experienced. So I'll periodically experience being good enough, being worthy, certain things agreeing with me, momentary fragments of peace or happiness, all of that. And then it will have to revert back to the shape that I'm unconsciously insisting that the reality takes. So we are kind of the creator of our experiences and the created at the same time. We are the unmanifest and the manifest. This is not something to blame ourselves for. I did at first. Oh my goodness, I'm creating all these problems and I have to fix them, says the separate being. And I did that for a while and it wasn't so much fun. So you might want to skip over that part. But I, as the infinite being, has enjoyed for a while playing with shapes, and now taking shapes only is too small for us, isn't it? We want to go back into our no shape, or our formlessness, our lack of form. And then everything that we experience in our life begins to take the natural highest shape possible, which is why problems seem to disappear, solutions seem to arise in that awakened state, condition, quite effortlessly, because naturally, when I stop forcing reality through a particular thought form, a concept, just as if I have a bright light behind me and I hold up my hand, the shadow on the wall over there has to take the shape of the light has been forced through. There's no other way. It's happening right now, isn't it? The light coming in through my window is causing a shadow where this Buddha statue is, taking the shape of the Buddha. It has to. There's no other way. And the light of your being has to take the shape of whatever concepts we're holding on to. And the reason we hold on to concepts, why would we then hold on to this idea that we're unworthy if it keeps causing us pain? Why would we hold on to this idea that I'm not safe if it causes us great fear? And it is because we haven't realized that this is what's occurring, that these assumptions, these shapes that we're making, these ideas that we keep experiencing as our life is taking the shape of our assumptions. Our life is a living experience of what we're still believing inside, because we are referencing what we're seeing out there as evidence to keep believing what we believe in here. This is causality. I'm talking about cause and effect. So I keep picking up the circular "I'm not good enough" cutter because my experience keeps reflecting this belief back to me. Because it keeps reflecting back to me that I'm not good enough, I keep allowing myself to agree inside. Yes, see, I am not good enough here. My life is giving me all of this evidence to agree with it. And our egoic sense of self is stuck in that trap, projecting, seeing its beliefs, experience as a reflection as our life, because there really aren't any other beings. There is just the one being everywhere, experiencing its karmic patterns, reflecting back to each other over and over. And when we begin to see that if I keep referencing my life, my experience, my current experience, to help me decide what to believe is true about myself, it will never end at all. Because what I'm experiencing as my life is showing me, reflecting back to me. There is no separate reality out there, because in reality we are everywhere all the time. There is only the one being. Then we begin to let go of these shapes, these concepts so tightly. We begin to see I'm experiencing it because I'm believing it. And I'm so powerful as the infinite self, the power that creates and sustains the universe. Any idea that I hold on to will be immediately experienced in my life, as my life, actually. And this is really why you have this human form, so that you can look at your life and experience and see what it is showing you that you are still holding on to, what concepts are being believed still. And when we see that, we can step out of those. Well, is that true? Has it ever been true that I'm not good enough, or not awake enough, or not safe enough, or that I can't get what I want? Is that really ever been true? Or have I just been experiencing that assumption, taking that shape of that concept over and over and over? And I've come into this human existence. My human body is a condensation of these beliefs. That it is a shape that I've come with these concepts and these ideas that I am allowing to shape my life, my existence. And when we can see that everything that we have thought is outside of us, separate to us, all these other beings I keep experiencing that keep treating me this certain way are reflecting back to me what I feel inside, because they're not really out there. They're not really separate to me. And then we're finally free to begin to challenge these assumptions, recognizing that if we keep allowing our experience to dictate what we're going to hold on to, what shapes we're going to make, then it goes around and around. It will never end that way. There is no cause outside of ourselves for how we think and feel. As we come to see, there is nothing outside of me. There is nothing out there causing me to feel this way, affect in here. That those out there and in here are the same one, that it's me everywhere reflecting back. This is very different to how we're taught to think as human beings. It may take a little while to fully grasp this, but the other way we do it, we say, okay, I'm the cause here, and when I wake up enough here, then out there will reflect that back to me. We're still believing in two there. We're still saying, when I change in here, out there is going to change too. But instead, we can see that we're everywhere all the time, even intellectually. And in fact, coming to understand this takes a massive, is 99% of the work to embody this awakening, actually. That as I refuse to take any shape more and more, I prefer to be shapeless, then I haven't changed anything out there. It's just going to naturally revert back to its spontaneous manifestation. When I stop forcing it into experiences that agree with and verify my unworthiness in the example that we're using, it will naturally take the shape of experiences and beings coming to me that agree with my peace and my joy and my self-respect and all of that. So whatever concept I'm holding on to, I have to keep experiencing. I have to keep going around and around until I see that I'm actually, in fact, everywhere, and there are no other beings outside of me. So again, this is a very different way to see reality than we're taught to as a human being. So it may feel that there's some confusion or resistance around it, just as there was for me when I first began to understand that I had been allowing my experiences to dictate to me what I was going to keep holding on to, what shapes I was going to keep experiencing, that I was stuck in this loop going around and around. And as I naturally inside question these assumptions, I revert back to my shapelessness. Just to listen to this again and again and to see it playing out in your own life, you'll begin to come out of it. And you come out of duality, then you stop experiencing that thing and its opposite. And you revert back to a natural, effortless, higher manifestation that is not something that we're trying to make happen, that we have to make happen. It's just something that happens naturally.